Hey everybody, we're back to a video on my program and kind of showing you the fundamentals that I think are really important. And in this one, I'm going to show you what are some pre-flight checks before you ride that I like to go through with my horses. And then and there's actually going to be a continuation on this, so there's going to be a couple of different levels of this. This first one is more of like horse that's really green, kind of barely riding, what I would go through with them. And then the next one will be a little more advanced horse, what I would do. And then also when I get on him today, I'm going to show you some of the fundamentals that I think are just really critical that our horses understand. The real, a lot of people call them basics, but I don't like to use the word basics because I think that kind of downplays the level of importance. That's why I use the word fundamentals, because these are the critical building blocks of everything the horse is going to do in the future. So let's jump into it. So first thing I'm going to check out is, can you stand in front of your horse and throw the rope over their head without them getting bothered? This is real simple. It looks easy when you got a horse that's quiet and can do it. And if you guys remember, this is Onyx. He was the horse that I started bridleless this past summer. There's some videos on this Patreon page about that. So what you're going to do, once you can throw that over his head, again, that's pretty easy. Make sure you don't whack him in the face with it, obviously. And you can do this. You can stand directly in front of him. You can stand off to the side. You can do it however you want. But this is also a good skill test for you guys to see if you can get handy with this rope and get that feel down, okay? Once you have this, then what you're going to do is come over here and hold on to the snap, have this on this side, just like we did on the groundwork, and you're going to see if this horse can follow a feel. And actually, I'm going to change this. I went to do it the wrong way. You're going to put this just around the saddle, the swell cantle of the saddle. If you have an English saddle, maybe just put it around the back of the saddle. So this is a little harder than what we showed in the previous groundwork video of the rope going all the way around their hindquarters. So you can put the rope right there. Just going to give it a feel here. I'm going to hold, and I'm going to wait for him to work his way out of that. You can see he turned around. He didn't rush through it. He didn't get stuck and locked up. If they get stuck and locked up, move your feet with them, but maintain the same amount of feel on the rope. That's the key to it. But don't lock down and put them in too much of a bind there. But let them work through it. In other words, don't cheat and start swinging your stick and string at them or clucking or adding any other pressure. Let them solve that puzzle. Just be patient right there, okay? So again, you're going to check that out on both sides. We'll see if he's any different on the other side. This simulates a little bit more closely what it would feel like from a rein position, because the rein position is going to come a little bit more back with him. So again, if he walks backwards here, just hold that, hold. See, I'm moving my feet, but my hands are being consistent. That is the key right there. Let him work his way out of that. Perfect. There we got a little lick and chew, which means he did get a little bothered that time. And if your horse gets a little bothered in any of these steps, do a few more repetitions of them. Just make sure they're really quiet with it, and I expect him to follow the feel here a little bit better this time. And you can see that one, he had a lot more understanding. And this is what I'm talking about, these pre-flight checks, is just really making sure your horse understands this pressure, okay? And another one would be standing next to the saddle here, and can you ask your horse for lateral flexion? Can they give that to you? I like to stand with my belly button kind of behind the stirrup. A lot of people are up here, and that's a little too far forward. So you want to be back here, just hold, put a feel on it, hold, and wait for that horse to give to that pressure. Simple, okay? Now, another one is going to be putting another rope or your lead rope around the stirrup here. And can you flap this stirrup and have your horse be okay with this on the ground as you're moving around? Some horses are pretty goosey to a rider's legs, and we really don't want to ride a horse like that. That's not a very safe horse to ride. So you want to make sure that they have some tolerance for commotion on the side of them, okay? So again, you can use the end of your lead rope, you can use another rope, whatever you want to do there. But I think you guys get the idea for that. So let's go ahead and jump into the saddle, and I'll show you the next steps. All right, so we're ready to ride here. I'm going to be riding him in the rope halter, and I'm talking you through just the absolute fundamentals of green horses and green riders and kind of what they need to know to do. And sometimes if a rider isn't consistent with their hands yet, it's better for them to ride in like a rope halter versus a bit that might have a little more meaning if they make a mistake with it. And now what I'm going to do is go ahead and show, so always check your cinch. You want to cinch your horse up 3 times, okay? So we saddled him, and then I moved him around on the ground. Now I need to tighten up that cinch a little bit, so always check that before you get on. Always check to make sure your horse is standing square before you mount up. You can see it didn't take much to pull him off balance, so if I would have stepped in the saddle, if he got startled, that first step could bother him, right? So now you can see him locking his legs out there. So now when I go to mount, I'm going to shorten up my inside rein and put this hand on the mane. Okay, so I'm not pulling it, it's short and kind of ready. Now I like to come over here and get my foot in the stirrup. Once I'm here, I kind of hop around. Now you can get your foot in that stirrup however you want to. From here, you want to push your knee into their shoulder. And I'm reaching over across my saddle here to the top here. A lot of people want to hold here, but when you swing your leg over, then you got to let go. If I grab here, I can hold on the whole time, okay? So knee to the shoulder, that's to keep your toe from pushing into them. And then just kind of swing your leg over the back of that saddle and kind of settle in here. But I would say a couple of the key points there is pushing your knee into their shoulder and having your rein short, but not pulling them, and then rein in the mane there. Then the next point of reaching across here. Those are really key elements to that. Otherwise, kind of doing a 1, 2, 3 and up and over is kind of the standard way to get on there. Now, once I'm here, I want a couple things I like to check out. I might just rub my horse and make sure they're kind of used to seeing me up here, you know, if they're green. You don't want to get up here and just kind of be a statue. And then I want to go ahead and check out my lateral flexion. Will this horse give me this? This is my control, because if you're riding a really green horse, you might not have a stop with 2 reins just yet. And so I'm not going to even show a stop with 2 reins in this video. But you can very much control a horse with 1 rein, okay? So that's what we're going to talk about. So once I have that lateral flexion, now I'm ready to ride off. And the way I'm going to ride off is I'm going to give him what we call a leading rein start. So I'm going to lead this rein out here and kind of bring him off balance, and that's going to encourage him to want to go forward. Then if I need to reinforce it with my legs, I can. But that's better than just sitting here loose rein and then just starting to kick, you know. It's like it gives them a green horse a direction and then kind of a feel to go forward, okay? And so the whole time here, you're going to see me changing hands positions like this, 1 rein at a time. We're not going to use 2 reins at first. 2 reins is for more refined communication, not for control. That is one of the most important things you're ever going to hear me say to you guys. 2 reins is for clear communication and refinement, not control. So if you need control on a horse, you can use your environment. You can go into a round pen, a smaller space. 1 rein is how we control horses, okay? So now that we got them kind of walking around in a circle, which would kind of also be the first step that I would recommend you do, is can you just ride a circle, not take off down the rail. I see a lot of riders when they get on and they're unsure about things, for some reason they feel comfortable riding out to the rail. And that's actually, it can be a very spooky place for horses. So I'm a big fan of being able to ride out on the rail, but I wouldn't start there, okay? I would start off by just, even though we're in a big arena today, I'm just gonna use this little corner here and I'll just make sure everything's good here, and then I can branch out from there. So if I did my groundwork here, and again, if I was on a green horse, that was maybe a little spooky. And some of you may not know when I say green horse, I mean a horse that's maybe a little unconfident, a little inexperienced. This horse has about 30 rides on him now. And so I could ride out to the rail with him, but I'm just showing that if it was my first time riding in this arena, I wouldn't head out to the rail. I'd stay in here, isolate a small part of the arena and just go, this is my spot here. And the horse will adhere to that. They won't have any issue with that, okay? From here, there's a couple things I want to do. One, I want to practice bringing my life up and getting my horse to move out a little faster, and then reach down and do a 1 rein stop. So I'm going to bend him, I'm going to stab my thigh with my rein, and I'm going to push on the horn, okay? This is to kind of keep my balance. And so when everything kind of settles down, I can make a decision. Do I need to get off of him, or am I good to go and the spooky thing is past and now we can ride on again? I estimate that a rider needs to do about 1,000 of these, which sounds like a lot, but you need to do about 1,000 of these to actually use this in a real life oh no situation. Meaning you're riding along and the horse spooks and takes off, and to have it be your muscle memory where you reach down, push on the horn and stab your thigh, you have to have practiced these ahead of time. If you haven't practiced ahead of time, it won't be there when you need it to. It needs to be a reflex, because it's about the second you feel something not being right, getting there, versus they're halfway running off and now you're trying to bend them. That's not the point of it. It's to get things shut down before they ever get rolling, okay? So you can do about 100 of them in a half an hour, okay? So if you did 100 in a half an hour, about 5 hours, you'll be there, okay? So it doesn't take, it's a worthwhile investment, okay? I don't know how many people have actually followed through with that after I say that to them, but I know I've done well over 1,000, or I've probably done several thousand of these in my life. And they've saved me many times, so it's worthwhile, okay? Once you have your 1 rein stop down, now you need to understand a really important horsemanship tip, which is how to redirect a horse's energy. One of the biggest problems a green rider and green horse can have is the horse is too fast. They're going forward too much. And so you got to be able to learn how to lift one rein and yield their hindquarters, okay? So this horse is yielding his hindquarters off of this rein, and if I needed to, I could add my leg in position 3, okay? So now I'm adding my leg now that he stopped. But if a horse with excessive energy, you won't really need your leg so much as just picking up that rein and holding it. This is a really key point. Hold it until their feet go faster to slower and they start to stop. Once their feet start to slow down, you know their mind has made a change and now they're ready to stop and kind of listen and behave there. So again, if you got a horse that wants to go and say they want to trot and you just want to walk, just lift, redirect that energy into a hindquarter yield. It's harder to do this hindquarter yield than it is to just walk or trot, okay? So this is going to eat up some energy and get that horse to wind down. Also, biomechanically, when a horse yields their hindquarters, it naturally helps them relax and kind of decompress, because in the wild, they only really do that move if they're going to turn and kind of face something and investigate it and be curious. So we can kind of leverage that, okay? But you got to hold it until those feet slow down. Once you have that hindquarter yield, then you want to see if you can add in a forequarter yield. So this is the hindquarters, this is the forequarters. So again, I'm going to reach down, I'm going to yield the hindquarters, my legs back, position 3, which is back by the back cinch. Then about here, I'm going to change my weight. I'm going to sit back, I'm going to look around, and I'm going to put my left leg forward in position 1. I'm going to ask that horse to move his shoulders. Okay, this is the building blocks of having a horse that's safe to ride and easily guidable. Okay, this is the bare bones fundamentals that they need to know. If you're on a loose rein and they take off, take over, lift, slide, yield those hindquarters, and then it's in kind of a good habit, and you can kind of lean forward when you do that. Sit back, look around, move those front feet, see if you can feel. See, right now his hind feet are moving, so I'm going to wait until right there, just the front end moved, and then I'll release it. That takes a little bit of practice, a little bit of feel, but it's a worthwhile thing for you to invest in yourself and learning how to feel when those change so that you can offer your horse way more consistency. Now, again, the last thing that I want to talk about is, what if your horse is not going forward at all? You know, we've talked about horses that go too fast, but what if they're going too slow? So I'm going to go ahead and get myself a stick here. And rather than kicking them harder and desensitizing them to your leg, you would be better off using a stick and helping to build their life up with this. Now, you have to be comfortable to do this, okay? So if you weren't totally comfortable doing this, maybe you'd tie a string to your saddle horn. And that works kind of in a pinch, but this stick, you can be a lot more accurate about the placement of it. And so if I have a horse that's not respecting my legs to go, I might squeeze and then I might tap just behind my legs until they go forward and then quit tapping. Start off really light and build it up. But make sure that you can handle the stick and change hands with it. Make sure that your horse isn't afraid of it, that you can move it around on both sides. So this is the starting point here, okay? And then again, if your horse needs to go, so I'm not going to use my legs this time. So I'm going to bring my life up, tap. I'm going to gradually increase the pressure. He went forward, so I'll release. Life up. And there he went that time, okay? So you can kind of build that to help kind of get your horses moving forward. Another really good handy tool for the stick is being able to use it to reinforce your leg. If you got a horse that's pretty lazy and sticky, when you put your leg back to position 3, it might be easy for them to lean on it if you don't have spurs on. So you can put your leg there, and before you get a leg cramp, you can start tapping here and wait for those hindquarters to step over. And then vice versa. If I want to move the front foot, put this leg here, tap the shoulder, maybe bring it out towards the nose, and push that front end around. Again, I'm going to wait for those front feet to move right there. Oh, then the hind foot took a step too. So just going to hold this, wait. I'm looking for just those front feet. There it is. Very good. All right. So I hope this video helps fill in maybe some holes in your understanding of the fundamentals. And go out and give it a try with your horses. Make sure all these things are working before you take off on a trail ride or start working on more advanced things. So hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you on the next one.